All right, welcome back as we continue our sit and go series, moving on to the middle stages. Now, in the middle stages, basically that means half the field is gone, either by luck or perhaps by skill. Blinds are worth stealing now, and profiles of your opponents become more clear. Pots are often all in confrontations with perhaps marginal edges. Most importantly, you want to avoid calling as much as possible now. Passive play pre-flop in the middle stages will only present difficult decisions for you. Bottom line is, your first options should be folding or pushing when there is action in front of you. In this hand, the under-the-gun player, who has been limping a lot, allowed me to see a flop from the big blind where I paired the board. It is a little pair with a weak kicker. However, this player has been limping and min-betting many hands. He bets out the minimum on the flop here, making the pot 350, or about a quarter the size of my stack. My instincts tell me this is another weak bet and not a trap, and that I am likely ahead here. I don't think that calling here is a good play because the next card is very likely going to be bad for my hand. So my options are to fold or re-raise. Since re-raising is only going to commit me to this pot, I should therefore re-raise all in here based on this weak play from my opponent, so that's what I do. My stack is less than half the size of his, however, but him calling here, even with a mid-pair like pocket sevens or pocket eights perhaps, could very well be a costly mistake for him. He has little invested in the pot, and I was confident this play would work. It did. He folded. As risky as this play may seem, I was likely ahead in this hand, and I'm at the point where I need to build my stack. His profile was exploitable in this way as well. Now, even though King-Queen offsuit is a better hand than the one I just played, there are 4 players still to act behind me, and one of them is a short stack himself. I like to avoid these situations with too much unknown happening behind me holding a dominated hand. But this would be different if I had a big stack where I would likely raise here, or if there was only one player to act behind. However, this time I decide to fold. In this hand, I'm getting 2.5 to 1 odds to make the call with only one player to act behind me. However, we are at a stage now where, given the size of my stack, I should not look to be calling anything, but rather folding or pushing all in. The player who raised under the gun has been playing a very solid, tight style of game, and I could likely be dominated in this hand, so this is a fold to me. If I was a very short stack, however, I would re-raise all in to isolate the raiser and just hope that I had live cards. Now in this hand, the action is folded to me holding 10-8 offsuit. My opponent in the big blind has me outstacked nearly 3 to 1. But on the other hand, I still have enough to cause him some grief to his stack if he makes a bad call. In this spot, I would shove with many hands as long as they had some sort of chemistry and could play well against 2 overcards, which is likely the hand that I would get called with. I am in dire need of chips now, so this is as good an opportunity I'm going to get to steal the blinds. I shove all in, and my opponent wisely folds. Now that my opponents know that I'm aggressive, I'm going to do the same thing here with his ace-king, hoping to actually get called this time, especially by the short stack over here. I just basically wanted to make it look like I'm playing recklessly. Even with ace-king, I'm reluctant to play a flop here, being so short stacked. That's because if the flop misses me, I will have a difficult decision holding just ace-high. Everyone folds, and I win the blinds here again with this hand. The next hand is almost the same situation, except I have a weaker hand being ace-9. A big stack is in the big blind now, but I have 1,800 chips, and it would be a costly call for him holding anything but premium hands. In this move, my opponents are not getting good odds here to make a call, even if they might think they're ahead of me. Everyone folds to the big blind, who actually does call me with ace-jack suited. That's one of the worst hands that I could have got called with because now I'm dominated and nearly a 4 to 1 underdog. However, look at this. The river saved me and I ended up winning a huge pot. Now, even though I was behind in this hand, you mustn't confuse that with this all-in push being a mistake. Most of the times, I will just simply steal the blinds here with that move. A few of the times, I will get called by a better hand, but even then, on occasion, I'm going to get lucky and win a big pot like I did here. This is not a mistake. It is the aggression needed to win sit-and-go tournaments. Now that I have a few more chips, I can afford to make some raises and trying to take down more blinds, like here with the king-queen offsuit again. My opponent, who likes to limp, also likes to avoid calling raises, so I take advantage of that profiling data that I have on him. Same thing with this hand, queen 8 suited. It's not a strong hand, but it's good enough to raise with, as I only have one opponent behind me who could very well be holding two little cards and does not want to play a hand to a raise. Now in this hand, I'm not targeting the small blind, but I am on the button with king-queen offsuit yet again. I do want the small blind to fold and get out of the way so that I can play a pot with the big blind, who is also the short stack in the tournament. The blinds are 450 now, so every pot is worth stealing. But I'm not really looking to steal here. I'm looking for a showdown with that short stack. This is a reasonable risk to make with what is probably the best hand pre-flop. Even if my opponent does have an ace, as long as I have live cards, I want to be putting pressure on him when he is so short, as it will not risk my tournament life just yet. After a few seconds, he actually decided to fold this hand pre-flop. Now, if you look back at when I pushed with the ace-9, while I had 1,800 chips, this player here has 950 chips left. So if you look at the stack sizes of all the other players at the table, he has very little chance of getting somebody off of a hand because he cannot threaten their survival. I don't like to get this low in a sit-and-go tournament, and I feel that he should have been more aggressive in the previous round of blinds like I was. Now he has put himself in the position of having to get a hand, which you simply cannot rely on in situations like this. Okay, so I hope that helps you with some middle stage aggression and risk-taking in your sit-and-go tournaments. In the next video, we will show more play around the bubble, which is where players either make the money or they do not. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more poker video tutorials, visit the Poker School at pattypowerpoker.com.